Okay, so what we got here? We have a very mean individual. I'll explain in just a minute. We have to fix this. What is it? It's a gate controller. So to kind of give you a little bit of idea of the carnage, you can see the speaker connection is ripped open. The box is just mangled. And you can see, let me try to get the front exposed here. Push button, regular button, and then there's the lock I had to pick to get the front open. So what is this? It's a gate controller to my pastor's gate. And for some reason, someone decided that it did not need to be standing. And so they either run over it, kicked it over, I don't know, smashed it all up. And so let's just say a individual cost him a lot of money to buy a new enclosure. So I'm going to swap the guts over and basically take and reinstall this back on the post. I've got the power shut down at his house, and so we should be good as far as all that's concerned. I'm going to check the fuses in here to make sure that's still good, and we'll just basically do this as a step-by-step. I'm going to set this to the side and get the new one out and set it up here and just kind of talk about what all we got going on. So here's our new enclosure. And let me grab the keys because I'm not going to have to pick this one. I got keys to it. And so you can see part of this wiring is already done. You've got the antenna because this is a cell box. So when I get it back installed and set up, I'll be able to basically hit the button, call him, and make sure all of those electronics work, which I believe they do, but we'll know for sure once I get to that point. Looks like we've got a lot of stuff here, but basically what I'm going to be doing is pulling it loose from the old box and putting it in the new. So here you have these two wires, oops, excuse me, these two wires right here, which are bringing power over to from one box to the other box. You have a plate that mounts here. There should be another plate that mounts here, which is the cell. Let me turn that light off there. Hold on. Sorry about that. You have another plate that mounts over in this area, which is this is a gate controller. This is the interface for the gate, controlling it, the keypad slash cellular connection that allows you to speak through the speaker and access the gate, open and close it at any time remotely with a smartphone. So basically that's what we got to do. We're going to have to pull the keypad that is in the other one. Let me try to separate some of these wires. And then we have the control box. And I'm not sure if I'm going to mount it up here or down here to this backside. Depends on what matches up correctly with the screws. I don't know. But this over here is basically the same box that I just had up here a second ago that was destroyed. We'll pull this loose and get the key panel in there. But let's get the other one back up here again. And I'll kind of talk a little bit about the whole job. If I can find it, where'd I set it? Here it is. So how do I tackle a job like this? So to start off with, I'm going to be careful to try to bend this door back open hopefully enough that I can work. This is the speaker connector, so which has been ripped off the old speaker, which is no good. This is the button controller for the keypad up front. And so I think I may start with taking that loose. This is really pretty much straightforward because what the hardest part, I think, and I guess I should have took you guys along with me from the beginning, because the first time I went out, he had called me and asked me if I could just pick the lock and get it open. And I really wasn't sure what or why. I didn't know exactly what had happened. And so I did pick the circular lock and get the cabinet open, and just found all of this just, mangled up inside there. Looks like there was some standoffs mounted in here. And it appears, which I don't know if it needs to be isolated, because this would have been mounted like this originally. So I need to kind of look at things and see if I need to actually screw it to the new enclosure or how I need to do. There's more wires on this one than there is on the other one. But to start off with, on something like this, I've taken pictures of all the wiring connectors, so hopefully I don't lose track of what I got. We are going to pull this LED right here loose, which, let's see if I can get that to come loose with that board in there. All right, so I'm going to have to pull the daughter board off. And this is basically just the cell phone board. It's kind of like a shield for an Arduino, is really. I don't know, what does that say? EC25AFX? Quasitel? I don't know. I'm not pronouncing that right. But that's the cellular connection. So I want to get this loose, which that is the LED to the front panel. And I'm pulling this just to get it out of the way for right now. I'm going to leave the other one connected. The other one is going to be the speaker connection, so I'm just going to leave it hanging. And so we've got these two connections here, which this is pretty straightforward. I don't really need to pull these because it is all one unit. Pretty heavy duty keypad there. This is all in good shape, so I need to pull this all together as one. I think would work the best. Let's see. The only connector that is different, see, we've got this long connection in the other box, and it is going to the power supply. So this board receives 24 volts here on these two right here. Let me go ahead and just tighten all these screws down except for the ones I need. And I usually do that in a case like this when I've got these connectors like this. I guess I'm going to call this a Molex connector. It might be right, it might be wrong, I don't know. We're not using 12 volts, we're actually using 24 volts. And the only ones I'm going to loosen up is the two I need, which will be the 24 volt. Okay. And then here is where it's tying in. So if I pull the voltage supply to the communication board, And I've got a picture of this being plugged into that slot on that board. Let's see if I can get this. And by the way, I still have yet to charge this. Every video that you've seen it in or not seen it in or otherwise, I still haven't charged it. So that's gotten this box out. So this, set this down. Kind of do a quick little inspection of the board. My meter is in the truck because I had it out there to shut the power down to the gate controls before I started working on it, because I didn't want anything to short out these connections. Because of the beating that the box took, connections were loose. And so I'm hoping to get all this transferred over to the new box so that tomorrow I can just, go by his house and install it and hopefully sneak away in time so he can't pay me. I'm trying to figure out how I can do this and not, let's just put it this way. He told me one time, I can't ask for your help if you won't let me pay you. But it's hard for me because I really want to do something for him. And he always wants to pay me. So anyway, I'll figure it out somehow. But I definitely want him to call when he needs help. So I don't know. We'll figure that out. Let's get this screw out. And if all four of these will actually match up, I'm going to go ahead and put all four screws in. So hopefully if someone decides to smash the thing again, maybe it won't be so much damage. Hopefully no one decides they want to smash it. No, it's not going to fit because that's water. So, no, it's not. It will. Okay. So let me get the antenna wire up. My head's in the way. Don't mind the shiny spots. Oh, and well, if you hear some background noise, that's the 3D printer. 3D printing Pokemon stuff for my grandkids. So try to overlook that. Though I'm pretty sure the AI, excuse me, come on, catch. I'm pretty sure the AI software in DaVinci Resolve will probably mask that. Come on. Okay, so this is the new wire. We'll stick it in here. And this will go to this here, actually, will go to the power input. On the communication board. So then we got the speaker. And here we have This right here is basically just a switch that is going to jump. And these wires are not on the other one, so I have to figure out that. This is going to go on the, see, can you, I got to get in the habit of looking up so I can keep track of what you guys can see and what you can't see. Okay, I think you can see part of that. So off screen, I'm going to disconnect. Let's see, this one and this one. So this is really, I mean, I guess it's kind of cheating because I'm just taking it loose on one side, one box, and putting it in the other one, which is almost exactly. It's not perfectly the exact same. There are some small differences, but nothing significant that's going to make cause any problems. So that there, we're going to get the buttons mounted. Okay, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of finagling. Or let me find the other one. I think it was maybe a little narrower. I don't think it is. Pretty much the same. So I'm about to notch this out a little bit because I have a little jumper right here that it's coming into contact with just slightly. So we need to notch it out.
Dogs be okay?
Yeah.
You ready?
Sure. That was my wife. Now she's giving me an ugly look. Because I didn't let her know that I'm filming. She's shy. And no, I'm not eating dogs. I'm going to be eating hot dogs. So, there. And yes, you are correct. This is the Ozark Trail camo insert. And so that is perfect. All right, let's get this secured into place. Now, although I think this is going to be perfectly okay and everything's going to work just fine, When I got over there and got the box open, I was still working on getting the gate back working. And I did, but I had to get some wires back mounted in the box, screwed to the correct connections, because some of those had come loose. Let's see here. Yes. Some of those had come loose. So I got it back working good. And then he calls me, he quit working again. So I know those wires were having fits, coming back loose again, or just exactly whatever. And so I wasn't able to check the call button or these buttons right here. So that's my concern, that they may have, that part of the circuit board could have sustained some kind of damage. I don't think it did, but we will find out when I install this back. Okay, so now I've got the keypad installed. Let's check, make sure it is oriented right. All the buttons feel good. So now we need to get, see, this is the only connection over here other than the power wires that come in there through the screen here. So let's get this board out and see how we're going to need to mount it. Okay, so I know we've got this. I'm going to probably just install this back later after the fact. So we know, okay, so yeah, I get it. This right here is going to be the power for the light that's, well, you can't see none of this that I'm talking about. So this right here is going to be, and let's get this out of the way, that goes to the keyboard, and that goes to the keyboard. So this right here is going to be the power going to this switch. In other words, it's going to turn the light on to light the little ring so that you can see that it's active. And then this right here is going to be the contacts. So when the button's pushed, it'll make these two contacts right here, and you'll know that it'll do whatever, which is, this is going to trigger it to call. Now, I could potentially have put one of this on the wrong one, and so I may not have that exactly right. I'd have to, let's see, this is open, closed, and I can't see what that other one is. And so I would assume that would be like normally open, normally closed states, or something of that nature. I know this goes to the speaker. I'm just going to leave that as is. I know this right here goes over to the other part. This here is the power coming in. So let's go ahead and loosen this up. Kind of scary how my brain works, ain't it? Because I'm probably sound like gibberish. All right, so we got that here, and then we know we got this here. So look at something really quick before I take this completely loose. Green is on silver terminals, and power is on copper brass terminals. So I'm not going to reuse these wires, but I am pulling them loose here, and when I get to the new box, I'll kind of show you what I'm planning on doing, because I don't want to I don't think polarity is going to matter in this case, but I don't want to take a chance on it making a difference. So we're going to get this in here. Be careful with this component back here. I'm going to set it out of the way. So this is coming through here, and this is coming up through here. And this will mount like that. Yeah, I don't know why they use plastic standoffs on this before, but I'm not. Now this piece here, I'll kind of explain a little better as I go, but I know how this needs to be routed, and this is routed over here, and these two need to come up through here. So give me just a second and I'll explain, hopefully, in better detail. Here we go. Now this is the corner that actually makes contact with the enclosure and provides a ground. So that's why I'm not sure why they didn't want to do that. And then maybe they did. I don't know. Maybe it just looks like there was some kind of plastic standoffs they used instead. Oops. All right. All right. So now let me just tighten these up a little bit. Okay. Now, I brought all this over because the green wires, hold on, we'll start at the top and I guess work our way down. This is our speaker connection, and this is our speaker. This right here is going to be this wire, so that's why I pulled it straight across so that it will just wrap right up here and plug straight in to the top of the board. Then this right here, like I said, is a speaker connection. I pull it out, this one goes straight in. So what I'm doing is routing my wires so that everything matches up ahead of time. My green wires are here. I know I just simply tie one end here and one where the other one is. These are these wires that are actually these wires. So I've got them up here where they need to be. That's why I was kind of rearranging everything. I think I have more wires in the box than what I need. This right here, these are the wires that will connect to here, supplying power from the main board into here. And then I will have another connection. I'm not sure. I took pictures. I'll have to look at those whenever I get into the box tomorrow as I'm installing stuff. All right, so here's my LED. There. Here's that. Disconnect this one. And here's one connection to the panel. And then we disconnect this wire. And here is the other connection for that wire. And this is one thing that makes it so nice to actually get OEM parts, because I'm not having to try to take ends off and resolder them to other sections and make sure it's wired correctly and polarity is good and everything. So it's kind of plug and play to a large extent. So I know this is speaker. That's the leftovers of the felt that was ripped loose from the speaker. And so we just plug our speaker back in and we're good to go. So let's go ahead and take this loose. Well, let me I'm trying to get my wire strippers. Okay. Just need a little extra off. To make sure that I got good contact inside here. One of the biggest problems I've ever had with these little small connectors, because I've done a lot of PLC control work, and this is what I would call control screwdriver, is when you push these wires in, you actually don't have enough tinned wire in the connector or in the joint, and you actually push the plastic or the shielding into the connector and screw it down, and you actually crimp down on the shielding. You get an at best you get an intermittent connection, and at worst you just completely lose connection for no reason. You can't figure it out, and that's the reason, because you pushed it up in there like that. Now these, usually the best thing to do is unscrew them all the way. That way you can make sure that you got them in there good. Get it good and tight. Passes the pull test. Now we got to do these. Get a little extra on these also. There we go. All right. So and this is the connection that I think I might, because this is one of the connections that came loose, and I was guessing as far as open or close, and the gate started working, so I think it was right. Hopefully it was right. Okay. So now we got that. So bring these around. And I really want to try to set that off to the side because I don't want this stuff rubbing with this right here. So I need to kind of pull the wires out of the way some which way. I don't know why this is stuck to that actuator. Now we'll see if we can get that stuck to the back of the board there. Kind of fold these over like that. Kind of route that underneath that wire to hold it down. All right. So we are almost there, and I will double check my connections by looking at the pictures I took with my cell phone to kind of make sure that everything's good and everything's right, because I really don't want to see, I don't want to end up plugging this in and it blows up, and chances are, I mean, it's not. So let's see, what do we have here? Well, I need to go ahead and look at my pictures because I don't remember. And I want to think it's red, black, but I don't want to think long day, tard. So pictures. Why, yes. Why, yes, it is. Let's go ahead and get some extra on these too. Those come out perfect, literally. I can feel it hit the back of the connector, and there's no wire shielding in the connector to get scrunched up in there. So now I'm going to go ahead and lay that down underneath. To be honest, I wish I had routed it underneath and straight down underneath the panel, and it would be coming straight out back here. But I did not. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to stick it right back here. And I'm going to put that wire in there. And let's see, what do we have left? We got the LED. Where was it plugged? Was plugged in here. Okay. Kind of look at some of my connections here. Yep. So I've got one set of power cables coming in here. I got another set going to the 24 volts here. And I'm not sure on exactly on this right here. So we've got, I don't know what voltage it is this coming in there. I'd have to look at the board and I can't see it. But I can test it tomorrow and I'll know. But anyway, let's see. That's in there. I think we're good. So what I think I'll do is go ahead and hook my power supply up and inject power. Let's see. Go ahead and use colored wires. And let me go ahead and turn my power supply on. Let it boot up. (24N plus). And minus. Let me get a magnifying glass and see if I can read this here. It might tell me. normally open and common. So that tells me that this is going to be the output. And that makes sense because it's hooked on normally open. And so the two wires that I've got connecting into this portion of the board, which I'm going to have to put an extension on those wires, I know now. And that's probably why they had this board in here, because they run their wires too short. But it was on normally open and common, which tells me this is the output going to the gate to initiate the close or open sequence. It's basically sending a signal back to the main box that controls the gate itself at the side of the gate. And so when it sees that signal, if it's open, it closes it. If it's closed, it opens it. So, and it reads the actuator in the state of where it's at, because the gate can lose itself. And I've had to actually go over there and kind of tell it what it was and where it was and how old it was and all that good stuff. So, so all I should have to do really is supply this 24 volt. I don't remember what the power supply in the box actually is. Get all this stuff out the way. And finally, after much ado, I've got some power cables, and I don't know, either one of these will work, but no, we'll leave that on there. So let's go. Let's use channel 1. Okay. And let's so 24 volt. And I don't really know why that's on dials, but okay. There we go. Hit the wrong button on it. So 24 volts. I'm going to set it for, I'm just going to put it for 250 milliamps. And we're going to see what we can see. Lights on. And I did get a sound. And all right, so I got buttons. I don't know what that's. Oh, I probably put in the wrong code because I don't know the code. Looks like everything is working good. Oh, doesn't seem to be any issues. The ring is powered up, which let me do this. So hopefully you can see that the call button is lit up. I'm going to cut this off, and let's go ahead and install the we're going to go ahead and install the antenna and the cell phone module. You know what? I'm just going to route that underneath there. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. Now, see the capacitors. This is a good example because I've got the power supply turned off, and I don't know if you can still see the light lit. And so it's an example of capacitance in this circuit. So you have these capacitors and stuff here, and that's why it's always important to discharge the circuit before you go to working on it, because it's now powered up because I supplied the correct 24 volts to the system, which powered it up, but these capacitors will stay charged for a certain period of time. It's getting dimmer and dimmer, but it will store a certain amount of energy. And so you could still short something on the board with that residual energy that's in these capacitors. You want to kind of watch out for stuff like that. So let's power it back up again. And let's see.
Hello.
Hey, Brother James.
Hey,
Okay, this is your gate box.
how are you?
I'm actually at the house. I'm filming a video while I'm putting all this stuff together, and I just tested it to make sure it works.
Did it work that far?
Oh yeah, everything's good. I mean, it doesn't have the contact to close and open the gate, but when I hook the box and everything back up tomorrow, it's good. So everything's perfectly good inside. It all survived.
Oh, that's clearer than it's ever been.
Oh, cool.
They put it down. Well, he closed the gate button. I'm sitting there talking to him. Oh, that's good, man.
All right, well, cool. I'll install this tomorrow, and everything will be taken care of.
Cool, man. Let me know what I'm gonna owe you. I'm gonna take care of it. A good Christmas present. Get that fixed for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye. Okay. All righty. So I don't think he'll mind being on YouTube. He's on YouTube anyway. Journey Church, James Greer. So I need to kind of hold these isolated because I'll tell you what, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to disconnect this right here because I'm going to put them over here as a jumper. So, and that's still got residual power on it. So I'm just going to let it continue to bleed down. I've got and let's finish, just see about, I really wish the cell phone, well, let me see if I can move this pad over a little bit because I want the cell phone wire, the antenna wire to kind of go through there to hold it in place. Okay. Okay. So that's looking pretty neat and tidy. I've got room to get my, it's like a little flange. Well, here, just these little chunks of metal that probably may have been supplied or not to give extra support against the back plane as the screws I'm going to run through the mounting post and bolt into place. So we know everything's perfectly good. It works great. The cell phone section, which I was kind of concerned about the cell phone connection, is why I wanted to go ahead and power it up and call him. And so if it kind of make sense, here's the deal. Because it may not make a lot of sense how this is working the way it's working. And if it's completely obvious, I apologize. I don't mean to bore someone who knows all about this stuff, but I mean, I'm learning about this stuff too. I love to do stuff like this because I learn about it. And I've actually got some stuff at the church. It's a extremely expensive mix board that I want to put together. I want to try to get to work on because it's damaged and from a lightning strike or something. And I think maybe I can fix it. Okay, so let's quit rambling. All right. So you got 4 wires coming into the back of this box from the main gate control unit. And what you have is 2 wires that's coming over here to this terminal that I just hooked up my power supply for 24 volts DC. And then the other 2 wires are connecting to these 2 terminals right here. Normally, I think it was normally open and common. And those 2 wires there are the signal that this gives back to the box to say, or the main gate control that's mounted over by the gate. It's giving the signal back that, hey, do something. Everything's good. Work the gate. The gate is independent in its function because it has a proximity alarm to where if and a pressure sensor and it will sense the remotes. So if you have a remote and you get ever so close to the gate, it'll sense that low level signal and it'll automatically open or close the gate depending on whatever the state. Will open the gate depending on the state. If the gate is already closed or already open, it won't do anything. But if it's closed, it'll open it and let you pass through and then close back again. So that's all automated. This right here is basically a cell phone that is a daughter board married onto this controller. So the way you can look at this, a power supply that this is bringing in 24 volts from an external source. It can also have a 12 volt source. I would imagine you can probably also have a battery backup system installed in this as well. And so you got a power supply here. You got your main voltage coming in and it's supplying what it needs from there. So you are pushing out, and I don't know what the voltage is. I'd have to measure it to this board. And this board right here is also supplying power to this board to this board through these wires right here. And they come around to over here. So this is the power supply for this section right here. This right here is coming around supplying power to this board through here. Speakers connected. Your keyboard is connected through here. And then you have the other wire on the back, which is where your power is coming off of this board into this board to power this board. I hope that makes sense. I apologize so much if it's not, because I'm a lot of this stuff I'm just figuring out on my own as I look at all of this. So this board right here is an independent board. These are all 3 independent boards. And this one doesn't necessarily have the cell phone. It is a modular system that you can install. You can consider this to be the PLC, the brains, the controller, the computer, the whatever. So this right here, when you program a gate key or gate code, it's going to be stored in here because the only output for this is through here on these contacts. And so it's not a data contact, but you do have a USB port over here. So you can probably flash it and program it and upgrade it and all that kind of stuff, the firmware and all that. You have a cell phone card that's in here. So this is all three separate boards that have been married together in this configuration and made to work. You can probably use this keyboard with multiple other gate controllers or just anything. All you have to do is supply it with power, which I would guarantee you is probably 3.3 to potentially 9 volts, maybe something of that nature. And you've got an LED that's mounted in here that I forget what it's connected over here. Maybe it's connected here, but anyway, no, it's connected over here. I'm sorry, I was wrong a while ago. This right here is the power supply to this board. And so I would assume that this signal right here is probably, I don't know, some kind of a serial signal. I mean, it's only 2 wires. So this is decoding what this is sending to it to tell it what button's being pressed. This right here, through these 2 switches right here. So when you push this button, these 2 are made, and the program inside this little mini, let's just say PLC or computer, tells the daughter board, hey, you're there? Yep. All right. Call this number that's already been configured in your system and we'll connect. The power wires going to this switch are coming off of here, which are simply what is required to eliminate this ring right around here. And so that's basically the whole system. I mean, I'm hoping that I have explained that well enough. And if I'm wrong and I missed something, please tell me, because I want to know. And this stuff is my interpretation of how this stuff is going together by just looking at the circuits, looking at the boards, and looking at how everything's configured, and kind of thinking back on how I've connected, used, and wired up PLCs in the past. And so that's what makes sense to me. Let me go ahead and disconnect. Pull this stuff loose, because I don't need my benchtop power supply again. I just called Brother James on it. So it's working. All right. Okay, so that kind of concludes it. All I got to do is take this, bolt it up to the existing connection, punch a hole through here for the power and signal wires to come through here. And like I said, this is going to have to be extended. I'm probably just going to, because I don't know if any of these are going to really be long enough. Maybe. Probably not. I may just take this, because I think this will be long enough to be able to kind of daisy chain out here and still reach, because the wires are just barely going to come into the box. They're very, very short compared to what they need to be. They should have been much longer. And again, why they put this on plastic standoffs, which I'm almost completely sure that was because it looked like plastic pieces broken off in each of the screw holes. And so why they put it on plastic standoffs, I don't understand, because it needs to be grounded to the chassis. Just like the other board, the power supply inside here is. And so, I don't know. But anyway, I'm not going to aggravate you guys by making you watch me put a wire here and stick it in the box. So, that is that. Appreciate you guys. I enjoy spending time with you. And again, correct me if I've done something wrong here or where I'm mistaken in the fit and function of this controller or gate box. I hope you learned something. If I didn't explain something quite well enough, I have pictures that I can kind of refer myself back to and kind of talk more about it and how everything is set up. But it's pretty simple and pretty straightforward. This is kind of an easy deal because there was no damaged circuitry like I was concerned that there could have potentially been. So good deal. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. I enjoy spending time with you, and I will see you, yes, you, next time. Your time is very important to me, and I thank you for spending it here with me. Thanks, and God bless.